Alrighty, folks. Time for a mid-morning commute to the office. The FSD 13.2.2. I'm eagerly awaiting 13.2.2.5, hoping it'll come this weekend. But in the meantime, 13.2.2 is doing great for me, and I do 100% of my drives using FSD. Probably with a 99.5% or more success rate. It's been doing pretty amazing in our neck of the woods. I have a couple of spots that can be gremlins for it. We're going to take a little different route this morning than FSD wants to, just to tax it a little more. We're going to come that way. It's just a little more diverse route. A little more we can kind of show off. And we'll see how it does. I hope you all enjoy this video, and let's get rolling. And we're off. Let's see here. I'm getting this very interesting, and a few other people have reported this too, where it sees some ghosts as if something's there that isn't in some cases. And sometimes it just zooms out of here. I think it just depends on the lighting. So I'm waiting to see if it takes off on its own. That's something we've noticed too, is that oftentimes you just have to wait for it to take off on its own. But I don't see any. Oh, there's a little indication like I'm gonna go. It wants to. See the blue's like extending out there. It's like it sees. I'm not sure what it sees. You can see that it actually thinks it's being blocked. Like, we're just coming out of a garage, right? So it's the top of the garage door area, but it's way up there. I mean, there's nothing that's going to hit the vehicle. It's 6 feet above us. So let's see if we can get going. All right. I'm going to give it a little touch. See if, there we go. Little gremlins. It also thinks there's a car next to me, but there isn't. There's just an icy outline from where it was defrosting. So perception, right? The as it's trying to determine what pixels mean, it does occasionally misinterpret that. And we are off. It's a beautiful morning, and we are cruising along here. You'll see that we're making our way out of the neighborhood. Excellent. There we go. standard. I'm going to actually go and hurry this morning. See how that does. Wouldn't have affected the first half mile of our drive at all in any way, so I don't mind changing modes. But this feels like a hurry morning. It's beautifully clear out, sunny, dry, good weather conditions. Shouldn't be heavy traffic at this hour. It is 10 o'clock already. I have a back injury that has me taking medicine and then having to take medicine, wait half hour, 45 minutes before I actually eat in the morning, and then, you know, just kind of slow roll it. I also took a shower this morning, and so just, you know, late start to my morning this morning, but an opportunity to get out here in really nice weather and enjoy the driving through here. So I'm excited. You are as well. This is a fairly rural road. We're still in the city limits of the city I live in, but there's just a few McMansions on my right and left through here, and then some old farm fields that are land no longer used for farming, but the DNR is doing habitat restoration on, because to our left over here is a beautiful creek and a lot of waterfowl, deer, stuff like that. To my right is Green Mountain, a small cinder cone, steep-sided, very forested, and spectacular volcano. Extinct at this point, but you can see we're actually climbing around the west hip of the mountain right now. So we're climbing up from the lowlands, which are at about 300 feet elevation, up to over 400 right now, and the mountain is off to our right up here. We just kind of came along its south side and then went over its west edge here, which is an elevated ridge before the peak. Now we'll start dropping back down again. On these county roads, FSD 13.2.2 is just rock solid in almost every way. You know, it really does a great job on these roads, managing the speed pretty appropriately. We're at 6 over the speed limit right there. And my speed offset, by the way, I keep at 25%. It allows me to get up over the speed limit by just enough, but not too much. I think 40 is too high for here, because some of these roads it would definitely take off on. There's an unprotected left, but no real traffic. Got out just fine. I have had one time right there it be a little sketchy. Here, the car does like to hug the white outside line, and in general has a tendency to stay left a little bit. So that's something, hopefully in another build they'll have better centering again. Somebody trying to pull out right there. This area is, like I say, fairly rural right through here. We left the city of Camas when we kind of swung up around the edge of the volcano there for a minute, and now we're heading into Vancouver, which will enter the city of Vancouver here in just a minute. Vancouver is the 4th largest city in Washington state, and is growing the fastest of all the cities. So this area has a tremendous amount of new neighborhoods going in all the times, like ours, and continued conversion from rural farms and horse ranches and woods over into urban city. Like it or not, that is what's going on here. And we're trying to preserve, of course, areas near creeks and rivers, and ensure we have neighborhood trail systems that interlink, things like that. But the cities and the counties have outstripped their means and are running in deficits, which means it's up to the citizens to get a lot of it done. And I think that's when it works best anyway, is when citizens take pride in their community, have a vision for you know, what they want it to be, and then volunteer their time and efforts to make it that. You know, we're facing the challenges of fairly rapid growth, and so the cities can't keep up with it really. But the citizens can help buffer some of the gaps, and getting into some public-private partnerships is a viable way to make that happen. You know, the public and private organizations can work more cost effectively and more efficiently many times than the local governments can. Not because local government is bad, like a lot of people think, or government is bad, but there are certain rules and even regulations that will put governments at in a weak position to perform as efficiently as private citizens can. So we can't just blanket blame them. Some of those things have been put in place that try to ensure fair contracting, fair supply of labor and things like that, fair wages and public visibility are the same things that drive up the costs for the government to get projects done. And so, you know, people would be crying if they were doing everything under the table and doing everything very closed off without good visibility into how funds were being spent. And, you know, so they have to do things in a way that ends up driving up cost, generally speaking, in order to ensure no perception of favor, no perception of you know, taking advantage of. And that means that public-private partnerships are a great way to get things done when money is very tight. And in the U.S. right now, money is very tight. We've had such an inflationary cycle that you know, there are very few governments that are not running deficits right now. Their costs of doing business are incredibly high, just like citizens' costs of doing business. And you know, it's one of those things where, like, if citizens can volunteer a little time to improve their communities, then that can really help get things done in the community without incurring more cost, or at least a lot less. So a win all the way around. So I encourage you, if your community isn't everything that you would like it to be, try and get involved. You may need a champion in city government to help you effectively coordinate volunteer opportunities to get things done. But if it's important to you, the quality of life in your communities, you need to invest some time and effort into it. And that's my soapbox for today. You can see this drive is going amazingly. We have had no problems. FSD has not, even though we're in a hurry, has not particularly tried to jump around a lot, and that's good, because there haven't really been opportunities to get ahead by moving over and stuff. Like right here sometimes is a spot where you can get ahead, but it wasn't backed up enough today in this left lane to jump over into the right. We are going to get through this signal, but I don't know if we're going to make it into... Oh, the turn lane's just starting to go up there, so that means we'll cycle in slowly. A little bit of bumpy road here, and FSD doesn't notice it, so it's going right over the filled potholes that are filled poorly because it's winter time, and so they just put a kind of sloppy slurry into the potholes that isn't particularly smooth, but at least keeps you from going deep into them. But it's a bit of a bumpy road, and you could avoid it, so hopefully FSD does get like pothole and obstacle aware in an upcoming release that's not too far in the future. It's got a few other things that are higher priority than that, though. You know, it has the occasional, and this is rare but still important to solve, extremely rare occurrences of creeping through a red light. Not just blowing through a red light, but like comes to a stop, it's the first car in line, and it'll sit there, and like something triggers it to think it should go eventually, and it starts just creeping out to go as if it's like a stop sign instead of a red light. And people are able to, you know, hit the brake obviously and stop that creeping behavior. But it's interesting. It's a very rare occurrence. I've had it happen once to me in, like, you know, hundreds of hours of driving on FSD. So that's but it's still, it's a hard one to solve because it happens so rarely, but for safety reasons, that's an important one for them to solve. Should be high on their priority list. And then a few people are having it turn. I'm not having this problem here in this area, but a few people are having it turn from the wrong lane, like turn from the straight lane or go straight from the turn lane. It needs to solve those issues because clearly just basic driving, which it is really good at now, but those weird edge cases where it does that need to get solved so that people aren't having to disengage, or it's not behaving in a less safe than human way. What else? Merging needs to improve. It does a pretty good job of merging over if it needs to, but it's pretty bad at allowing people to merge in. Pretty unaware of their need to merge, and that can leave people thinking you're going to let them in because that would be the polite thing to do, and they're like ahead to the right with their blinker on, and it just ignores and rushes up on them. And also, when it needs to get over into a turn lane, it oftentimes, even in standard mode, let alone hurry, will try and outrace the car next to it to get over in front of it, when that's not necessary. You're the one trying to get over. You should accommodate to what the vehicle next to you is doing, which means if it's going the same speed as you or a little faster, don't try and beat it to get ahead, because oftentimes you end up fighting with them all the way up to where you miss your lane turn. You need to get over there because you need to exit from that lane in some way. Instead, ease off and get in behind them. It just sometimes is too aggressive about trying to be the winner in terms of getting over, instead of being like, well, I still win by falling in behind you, you know, so because I get over to where I need to be in a timely manner. So that's a little bit of training behavior. That's not that's an easy to solve issue, sort of like the lane drift is. I mean, that's very trainable, very easily. That's not even like a limitation of its logic or anything. That's just literally training video they need to do with it to reinforce that behavior, incentivize it. And then but yeah, it also needs to be more aware of like forced merge points where lanes end, stuff like that. That way it knows, like, the people next to me have to come over. So sets itself up for that. Like, oh, the person just in front to the right, for instance, is going to need to move in front of me. So I'm not going to rush up on them right now. You know, that context of merge points coming, let's do that kind of auto negotiation that goes on between vehicles to get together for that merge effectively. And then yeah, high volume long turn lanes and just getting into them in a timely manner. Usually if it's a really long turn lane, it's a really long turn lane for a reason. We've got some that are a mile, 3/4 of a mile long, and that's because most of the traffic is turning, and so that turn lane is high volume, and if you don't get over there early, you're not getting over there. It gets backed up, it gets tight. There's conflicting traffic trying to come out of that lane because it's so long. There's other on-ramps actually coming into that turn lane and people fighting to get up through, stuff like that. So, you know, it really needs to contextually be aware, hey, I have a long turn lane coming up, I need to be over there now, not hanging out over here in the leftmost lane for another half mile while that lane, that's the turn lane, is backed up. And no, you shouldn't try and squeeze in late, because that means you're going to have to potentially stop in a through lane to try and squeeze your way in, plus cause like road rage. So no, that's not appropriate behavior. Here we've got this guy merging on next to us, and it is doing a fine job of not getting ahead of him. Come on. Overall, FSD, see somebody got in way past the white line here, sleep at the wheel. That's how FSD is a better driver than people. It is more aware. It can react to more things. It's got 7 eyes looking around at all times and can process information from all of them. You know, so it's in the moment awareness and ability to react, respond, things like that is superior to a human being. It doesn't get distracted by trying to look at the route or, you know, look at things around it. You know, it's smooth, it's confident, it's consistent. And so it's a better driver than humans 99% of the time now. It's in the 1%, the edge cases, where humans are better drivers than it. And those 1% just need to keep reducing. Those situations where it isn't better, right? You know, and that's important to get that 1% solved, because, like I say, it's already better driver in 99%. But you're going to notice that 1% where it's worse. Solves a few of those gremlins, and, you know, signs. It's important to know, for instance, no right on red. School zone when lights are flashing, but not otherwise. School zone when children are present, but not otherwise. School zone all the time. Those are 3 different contexts where the sign looks pretty similar, but there is symbology on the sign that would clue you in. It doesn't necessarily need to be able to read signs like we read, you know, actually understanding individual letters and all that. It just needs to know that this pattern on a sign is associated with this activity. This pattern on a sign is associated with this rule, you know, this kind of rule, or how I drive. You know, so when children are present, oh, do I see a lot of people around? Am I noticing a lot of cars turning in and out of that school zone, parked alongside it, school buses around, things like that? Children are present. right? The wind flashing, okay. Those two yellow lights are flashing on at the top of the sign, or that one single light. That means 20 is right now, and 20 is what I should go, right? Because school zones are pretty, in most jurisdictions, pretty unforgiving. You need to go the speed limit, not 5 over the speed limit in those zones when children are actually present. So, there are specifics that it needs to be tuned up on, and I think it needs to be able to have a database of symbols, essentially, that are the signs that it says, okay, that's this sign, that means this behavior. I mean, it's essentially what humans are doing. Our ability to read is just interpreting symbols, right? And so a lot of signs are just symbols and not letters. So we read the sign, we read the symbol. The letters are just additional symbols we interpret as specific words, but it just needs to know it's a pattern that I recognize. Like here, no U-turn. That's a sign it needs to know. I cannot use this intersection for a U-turn. I have one mapped. I'm gonna take a left instead and reroute. FSD is remarkable now. Imagine as it gains more context about these nuances. School zones, construction signs, flagger, not only signs but behavior. For instance, a stop sign is normally I stop, then I go when safe or when it's my turn. But a flagger is stop and stay stopped until they switch it to slow. And then slow is slow, so not the speed limit, but rather slow through this next zone till you get past the next flagger or the end of the zone. Here we go past a school. The light wasn't flashing, so 35 was appropriate. But if the light was flashing, this thing would still kick at 35 if it didn't have traffic in front of it that was helping it go slower. So, and note that we're in hurry and we're literally going slightly under the speed limit. I wouldn't call that hurrying. It does hurry sometimes, but other times, curiously, it's just kind of around the speed limit, which to me isn't hurrying. There was nothing in the weather conditions that should make it be more conservative there. So I don't know if the logic sometimes forgets that it's supposed to hurry, like other things for some reason are taking precedent. Let's see how it does in the parking lot here. It always checks to make sure nobody's coming from the left side in the parking lot, which isn't a bad thing. But it does a little longer than would be helpful. And then we're gonna pull up in front. Are we done? You don't say we're done. That's interesting. It just stopped here. Usually it completes here. Gonna give it a little pedal press. There we go. These endpoint gremlins that are supposed to be solved in a new version will be upcoming version should be really awesome because it can get you here. Sometimes it'll even park in here, but not usually. I'm going to choose a parking spot. Let's do that one and start. Da, 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 da. Park your little heart out. meh. That was an okay park. I mean, we're in the spot, and if I look out the door, we are in the spot. Unfortunately, the car next to me is very close to me because they're close to the edge of their spot. And that's something where you can see here, it's close to the line. We're close to the line. That doesn't give me a lot of room to get out. So auto park needs to take that contextually into effect and essentially, you know, move over in the spot like I'm doing manually and be like, well, I actually want to not be quite so close to that vehicle. I mean, yes, it's just their passenger door, but, and it's freaking out just because we have little backstop curbs that are lower than there we go, car, so that's not actually concern of it. I just step off of them. Now I can open my door without being concerned about door dinging the person next to me. So, like I say, auto park is very good, and like 90% of the time the way it parks is fine. But if a car next to you is poorly parked in their spot, sometimes it will park too close to them. And but still, nice job. Really great commute to work. 0 disengagements, 0 interventions. We went through rural narrow roads with no shoulders, signals, roundabouts, highway, on ramps, off ramps, you know, school zones, and 0 issues. Awesome. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll be doing the commute home, which is always more challenging and heavier traffic and kind of crazy coming up. And that should be a good time, and I hope you'll join me for it. Beautiful day for a commute, so hopefully that'll continue this evening. Take care, folks, and have a wonderful day. All right, folks, heading home for the day. This is FSD 13.2.2, and we are going to enjoy this beautiful afternoon with a commute home. Traffic should just be starting to pick up. It's just after 4 p.m. And around here, that means rush hour is starting, but it shouldn't be too heavy today. It is a Friday. I hope you enjoy this ride along and see if we learn something about FSD's capabilities on the drive home. May take a detour or two just because it's so nice out, and we'll see how it goes. Here we go. Oh, and note, leaving from the office, it knows I want to go home, so there we are. Home we are going. Easy squeezy. We always get a little stop right here. There's a storm drain in the road. It apparently gets a little gun shy about in the parking lot. FSD is always a little more skittish in parking lots yet than it is in public in general. We have somebody pulled off to the side and kind of blocking this street here. This will be fun. What route do we have? Oh, we're taking Patton the whole way. I want to change that. Hoo hoo hoo. Aren't you the aggressive little fellow? I am just going to modify the trip slightly here. There we go. I want that one. Done. So, not a disengagement, just me having to change the route. Boy, it really keeps wanting to do the other. There we go. Excellent. Have fun. Little technical difficulty as I got the route changed. I should have been checking into that sooner. We are in hurry mode today, and we're going to see how that does for us. Stop leaning so right in the lane, thank you. One of FSD's slight Achilles heels in this version is its tendency to hug the right side of the lane for me. Oh. We do have a police vehicle coming up. What is FSD going to do? Slow, 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 slow. No ability to get over, so I will stay right there because we are getting off at this exit right here. That was interesting. It's one thing FSD still needs to improve is its handling around emergency vehicles. Oh, we got nice heavy traffic here. This should be a fun commute. Hurry mode doesn't handle really heavy traffic well. Chill and standard both do better, with chill doing the best in really heavy traffic. And what I mean by best is obviously hurry is going to try and get you there the fastest, but in heavy traffic there's almost no ability to get ahead. That's what I'm talking about heavy traffic, is not like moderate traffic where there's gaps and you can make headway. Rush hour traffic around here is pretty much, doesn't matter what lane you pick, doesn't matter what route you take, you're going to get there when you're going to get there. There's virtually no opportunities to make good headway. And so, as you can see here, we're on an off-ramp, and the off-ramp is backed up. And that's because the road is backed up that leads to the on-ramp to the next highway. So, that is the way it is. And so, hurry tends to be like, oh, I think I can get an advantage by hopping into like the slow lane, the right lane, because there's two less cars there right now. It gets over there, and of course that lane has actually got quite a bit more traffic in it. There was just a 2-car gap locally next to you. And so it gets over there and then loses time to the lane it was already in. And so hurry can kind of attempt things in heavy traffic that actually make the drive take longer. I find hurry works best in moderate and light traffic. Although, as many others have reported as well, other testers, hurry also has a tendency to like hurry at peculiar times and then not hurry with, like, the road is wide open or low traffic and there are plenty of opportunities to really get moving, and it's like hanging out at the speed limit or a mile or two under, and it's not like there's adverse conditions affecting it. Okay, are we going? Are we going? Are we going? That was a long stop there. Wow, impressively long. for hurry, that was not feeling super hurried, but you did it. You made it. I know you still have to do NHTSA stops, so I get it. I don't like it right there because that is nobody else's, so it's a place where the people behind are cursing that we're, you know, being so slow. But most people are like, I look, I see if I can go, and I roll right through. There. And here we have an on-ramp to Highway 500. And we will be car number 7 or 8. Looks like, not bad. In the line, we should make this signal when it changes. I've got a solid stream of another 20 cars behind me, all trying to do the same. Like 90% of them are taking this same on-ramp. There'll be a few people shedding off left and right, but the bulk of the people are going this way. So this thing will be feeding the highway heavily here. And looking behind, I would say 30, 40 cars back there now. We already have the I-5 folks coming on, are already on this thing, so. Then this guy's probably going to head for the left lane, which is fine on this road. There is no stay right except when passing on this particular freeway. This highway is Highway 500. It is designed like a freeway for this short 5-mile stretch before it turns into a city street. And no, our roads aren't stay right except to pass on normal city streets and roads and small highways. That typically we only have those signs and that law on our major freeways, and not even all of them in all places. Like in the big cities, usually it's everybody, all lanes. Because of the volume of traffic we have here, there is no stay right except when passing there. In the long stretches between the cities, there's usually signs, as well as the law still stipulates it. What a beautiful day. There is barely a cloud in the sky. I see one tiny wisp of cloud ahead that is extremely tiny. I'm amazed it exists, actually, in this ocean of blue that we have. You can see here, new pedestrian overpass going in that's linking two neighborhoods that used to be one, and when they changed this road into a highway, it severed the connection. So they've got two pedestrian overpasses in about a half-mile stretch that they built to help connect the people again and give them an easy way to, on bike and on foot, get to each other. Because this has really been one neighborhood that got kind of blocked by turning this street into a highway. Oh, Mount Hood's looking beautiful. I don't know if you could see it over there, but exceedingly beautiful today. And St. Helens out. Be able to see it in a minute. If it is, should be to my left and ahead. Ah, I do see St. Helens. Oh, and Adams actually peeking up from the far distance over there. Got Mount Adams peeking up there. It's about 12,000 feet tall, but it's very far east, right over there. Just its top peeking above some closer mountains. And St. Helens is off to our left. We don't have a great view of it today. There's a few clouds around it. And of course that is Mount St. Helens, the last volcano in the lower 48 to erupt violently. Lost several thousand feet of its top. and it is very close to us here. It's maybe 20 miles away to our north. So we are in hurry mode, which almost assuredly means we will not make the right turn up ahead, or we will get in danger. So I need to start paying attention to that. I promised everybody I would do a hurry mode of this intersection to show one of FSD's weaknesses, which is not getting over in time for a turn lane. Does it show? Yep, it shows all the traffic up here backed up massively, which means it should be getting over right now. It should be getting over right now. It really, really, really should be over there right now. We are almost on top, and no slowing down, just racing ahead. No attempt to get over to the right, and now hard traffic. That is super bad. And now, see, here we are. We've got heavy traffic to the right, and it's not even trying to get in yet. Oh, now it tries to get in. Are you gonna just jut in here? Nope, and you didn't. And you're not even leaving yourself room to. So this is the problem it gets itself into. And note the guy in front of me did too. It doesn't get over there when it should. We got in. We're very fortunate. Now, we were very fortunate. A van behind us gave us some room. Now, will we give anybody room to get over? You see, this gets to be quite a little cluster along here. Everybody's trying to get across. We even have quite a few people in this lane to our right who are trying to get in and get across to the through lanes, while this is a right-only lane. So this gets to be merge city right here. I'm actually pretty happy. I wasn't happy with how fast it came in, especially with the poor visibility with this truck, this Murphy's truck, that also was trying to get over fairly late. But I didn't have to disengage, which is a first for me here at this intersection. I'm not sure. Oh, why you're putting your blinker on. Calm down. There's no need to blinker there. I don't even know what it was thinking. That is not the turn lane over there. That is the merge lane ending right here that is coming in from an on-ramp. And like I say, many of those people are trying to get over to these through lanes. We are in this incredibly high volume, 3/4 mile long right turn lane, Camus only lane. But thank you, FSD, for not being a complete idiot tonight on this one in hurry mode. That was a welcome change. You did manage to get over before we were in the worst position, but where people are getting really pissed off, and there were 3 or 4 other cars trying to get over, so we kind of lucked out, and somebody did let us in, which was nice. It wasn't ideal. Should have gotten over into the line much earlier and didn't, but it is what it is. So that one right turn lane now turns into 4 lanes right here. 2 through, dedicated right, dedicated left. So it's why, even though it's a 3/4 mile long turn lane, it moves along pretty good. Yes, you'll be stopped for brief periods of time, but mostly it moves. I think we'll make this signal as long as we don't get any idiots here. As long as people actually move forward. That guy was trying to turn there. He did not get over in time. Traffic, traffic. We love traffic. FSD's doing a heck of a job tonight so far. I'm really pleased. You know, not having to disengage at that high volume right-hand turn. It, you know, a lot of that was luck of circumstance. Essentially, there were vehicles around it helping to slow and guide it a little bit. 3 or 4 other vehicles also trying to merge over late, which made it, you know, a little better. And there is no right or wrong in terms of lane on this stretch. There's so much traffic. It's just luck of the draw which lane ends up getting you there faster, and it won't get you there that much faster, you know. I'm not sure why you're putting your blinker on. There's no way you're getting over there. Like, how many people are turning at this next light in this group, right? We could be in a good spot. We could be in a bad spot, you know. But enough people turned over there that we actually didn't lose ground to the lane next to us. Not bad. Like I say, it's FSD could pick either lane and probably get beyond this heavy traffic zone around the same time in either lane. You know, it's just luck. Sometimes you get unlucky and one lane ends up being slower, but you don't even know which one it's going to be. The volumes are just so high, and you can't predict how many people are exiting the lane in front of you at any given moment. You can see that while this is not the highway anymore, everybody turns and goes this way because the highway comes right back down onto this road. Nobody actually continues north. Because you still have to deal with a few signals before you get on a causeway that goes a few miles and like 3 and then comes right back down to this road, and the highway continues eastward as a rural highway. So we're passing by Walmart and about 10 or 12 restaurants right here, banks and other facilities. This is an area we actually come out to quite often for shopping and food, because there's both fast food and sit-down restaurants here. We got pizza joints, burger joints, Mexican, of course, all your typical fast food type places here. Starbucks, of course, right here. It's a mega Walmart back behind, Panda Express here. And so, yeah, it's just food and shopping all through here. Oh, a Tesla switching lanes in the intersection. That's illegal, my friend, but hey, you do you. Now, I'll be curious how it handles where this turns into a rural highway up ahead. You can see now we're approaching the foothills of the Cascade Mountains, and even some of those mountains in the distance off to the left have some snow on them. We've been in a dry stretch for like the last 8-9 days. Normally you'd see a lot more snow on these lower mountains that only go up to like 3,000 or 4,000 feet here, but not right now, because it's just been cool and dry. You know, we're below freezing at night right now by just a couple degrees, somewhere between 28 and 32, and daytime highs are in the 40. Today is the warmest one yet. We've been like 40 to 44, but right now we're at 49, so pretty nice weather for this time of year here in the Pacific Northwest. We're going to end up with maybe a 2 straight week dry stretch, which is extremely unusual for wintertime here. And the guy at the signal, he's rushing around, trying to get something done before he has to go. Car carrier had something going on. All right, here we go. Getting to our final intersection of interest here. Well, not our final one, but it is very interesting. I'm going to see if I can add a stop on our trip here. And just on the map. Alright, we're going to take, since it's so nice out, we're going to take a little journey. Instead of heading straight home, we're going to head up onto the mountain up there. Just see how it does on some windy roads. Yeah, see here? Puts on its blinker to get over and there's no lane. There's nothing to get over into there. That's because it doesn't know that a merge is happening, so it literally starts thinking, I'm going to get over into that right lane. Clearly doesn't read the signs that say there's a merge happening, the arrows on the road that say that there's a merge happening, and if somebody had been next to us, would not have allowed them in, would have forced them to slow and go behind us, even if they were somewhat ahead of us and on the right. So that's something that they need to fix, is awareness of lanes ending and merge points. You can see this is quite a rural highway now. I'm passing a horse ranch on the left. We're going to, we just crossed Fifth Plain Creek, which joins into this creek, Lacamas Creek, that's right at the end of this roundabout here in just a second. And Lacamas is a large creek that FSD, such a good citizen in roundabouts, signals its intent. Going over the bridge for Lacamas Creek right now, and Lacamas is pouring down out of those mountains we're headed towards, and comes down here and feeds a big lake, Lacamas Lake. That other creek, Fifth Plain, that we went across just before, joins into Lacamas, and then up ahead of us now you'll see a bit of a mountain going up, and that's Green, the first little foothill mountain. It's a volcano, extinct now, but quite steep, even though it's not too tall. It's about 800 feet tall, and there's a couple of seasonal run to like 8 months of the year creeks that drain off that and join into Lacamas as well, and another small creek that we're crossing right now that joins in. So 4 or 5 creeks on this stretch that all join the main Lacamas Creek. A couple of them bigger creeks, a few of them smaller. So instead of the usual turn up here at this next intersection to head home, we are going to be going up into the mountains. Couldn't tell what that was on the road. It was just, thankfully, a cloth. I only could tell what it was when I got to it. And I'm glad it wasn't something hard. So normally we head that way to go home, but we are just cruising out into the countryside and gonna wind our way up into the mountains. Then once we get up there, I'll put home in as the destination, and that should get us headed back the other way. We're on the north side of Green Mountain here. And here's a place where a lot of senior citizens live in Green Mountain Mobile Ranch. Unfortunately for them, this area will probably all be developed into high-end housing at some point, except for Green Mountain itself, which is protected. Beautiful rural area here. Again, lots of cattle, horses, grazing fields, as well as forested areas intermixed all through here. Large evergreens and deciduous trees. And you can see ahead, mountains we're starting to get closer to. And whereas Green's only 800 feet tall, we were 2,400 feet right here and 4,200 feet right behind it. So gonna do a little winding, some pretty sharp corners, some pretty windy roads, and we'll see how FSD does on them. I've not driven it out here yet, but I thought the sun isn't down yet. Why not give it a little exercise and have it work the roads out here. Here we go, heading out onto the mountain. Deer the next mile, and here we are flying along because FSD doesn't read signs. Going about 6 over the speed limit, not bad. It's gonna need to really slow it down as we get into the curves of the mountains here. Let's see how it does right here. It's gonna pay attention to the fact the road gets very dicey ahead. It's a little speedier than I would like through here. I am going to pull it down a little. Sorry folks, but safety first. despite the fact the speed limit is 50 here. It's mostly corners, and none of those can be taken at more than, 30 something. So it's quite windy as we head up into the mountains here, and we don't need FSD going crazy. So and that is one thing about FSD is hurry mode, for instance. It's all great to be in hurry mode, but it's almost as if FSD should be able to say, like, well, I've been in hurry mode, but now I'm getting into terrain or roads that aren't conducive to it, so I can make a decision, I being FSD, to switch out of hurry mode. I think it needs to be smart enough, because sometimes conditions change, like, oh, hurry mode, but now giant thunderstorm, I shouldn't be in hurry mode anymore because it's pounding rain, or I just transitioned from that. Remember, we're thinking about getting this to a point where it's truly autonomous. So I would say that FSD needs to be able to let you set a mode, but then that was fun. But then, if it feels uncomfortable with that mode, which it should, and that's the thing, it needs to have a thing like, oh, I'm noticing I'm hard braking more, I'm turning a lot of tight radius turns, so I shouldn't be in this mode anymore. It makes my driving too erratic or too dangerous, right? So here we go. Climby some more. Beautiful drive out here in the mountains. And what does it think the speed limit is here? It thinks this road is 50. It is not. This is a decidedly like 25-ish road here. So we're gonna say, whoa, that's interesting. It does have a jumpy factor there, where like 25. I'm gonna say 30 max now, because this road is not the type of road you go fast on. It still thinks the speed limit is 50. See, it didn't catch speed limit changes, and it thinks this road is a 50. It's not. This is a narrow mountain road. The 25 winding isn't really like just advisory. It is like, no, really, just go 25-ish. Which, of course, 5 over, 7 over, whatever. There's a gate ahead. That's just a driveway. And we're just cruising along out here in the mountains. I can see Mount Hood off to the right. Come on. You can make that corner. But yeah, I'm gonna watch it here because, a mistake is a mistake here. Oh, geez. Once again, put its max way the heck up. What is it with doing that? Say 35 max. I gotta keep an eye on it, because it's wanting to reset up to like 60, because it still believes this is 50 mile per hour. No, we're in the forest. And there it is again, see? Way up there. It just doesn't have this speed documented at all. So it insists on pulling itself up there. I'm just having to literally pull it down myself. I wonder if I kick it out at this point. Okay, there we go. Oh, perfect, we're at the end of our drive. But it just doesn't know this isn't a 50 road. I mean, yes, you can go 35 out here, but you're gonna have to go way less than that at other times. Beautiful drive out here. I will turn FSD on. Oh no, I don't want it to turn there. I want it to keep going. So we're just going to move beyond that. No. We're just going to roll out here and let FSD drive us back. Getting out here into the Jones Creek drainage, very near the big Nakia fire that we had down here 2 years ago. And that fire put even our neighborhood on the edge of the evacuation zone, because we had strong east winds blowing down the Columbia River Gorge and making the fire jump through here. So we are getting out here now. This is beautiful. The only problem is, you see this, like 15, 20, it's so funny, a 15 and then a 20 for the corner, right? And it's like, because it thinks the speed limit is 50 out here, it really is struggling with its speed. Like, I was having to pull it down and then it would reset itself back up. You know, if I set a max speed, that's the max speed until I tell it otherwise right now. Until this thing can learn more context about the drive and the road, it should understand this is not a 50 mile per hour road. But it doesn't. Oh, it just did, finally. 25 now. Okay, so now I'll turn it on and just let it drive and see how it does out here. See, now that it knows it's 25, it's not trying to surge all of a sudden on me and fight me. And that's the thing with poor map. Oh, wait. Oh, it just flipped to 50 and then back to 25 again. I gotta keep an eye on that speed limit. There's no part of this road that you should be thinking the speed limit's 50. It's an interesting limitation of FSD right now, is like, if its map data says it's 50, it thinks it's 50. And, you know, even though every sign is like 25 every 25 feet. Beautiful road back here in the forest. Getting into some active timber harvest areas here. Big tree farm over there. Beautiful. Really lovely drive out here. And now that it's behaving itself, I'll let it go 10 over the speed limit as its max it can do. Now that it knows it's 25. Over another good sized creek. See, they've run de-icer out here. It's down to 40 here from 49. So down quite a bit. Trail's closed ahead because of the fire. The Jones Creek Trail. It's all closed up as they do some rehabilitation to the area. Get some trees planted and restoration started in the burn zone. Alright, what are you doing here? Oh, yeah, this is as far as we're gonna go. I'm not gonna do the dirt road thing here. And we got some private property, no trespassing signs up here. So I'm going to just do a nice little 3-point turn. And get ourselves turned around. And then we'll engage FSD for home and see how it does. This should be fun on the way back. Hopefully it realizes better. So let's go. Where do you think you need to go now? Nope. So let's go in trip and navigate home. And here we go. I'm gonna say 35 as a max. And hopefully FSD realizes, hey, this road is not really a 50 road on the way back. I'm curious to see if in the same kind of spot we suddenly switch back to 50. Which, like I say, would just be bad map data. Ooh, pulling out here through some ugly gravel and rock. Out we go. So we're right up against some 4,500 foot mountain heights off to our east over there. We're headed back west now. And what's in front of us is about 2,800 feet tall. So we're in a nice valley between it's a big U-shaped valley formed by glaciers originally in front of us. And in fact, this 28-foot tall mountain runs as a ridge to the north and then hooks around and connects to that 4,500 foot mountain on this side. That's just one long U-shaped ridge. And of course that means we have a significant creek and the little Washougal River that start out in this area. Since we have a number of these U-shaped valleys that come down through here. This is such a lush green. I mean, it's the middle of winter and you can see how green it is here. The trees have lost their leaves, the deciduous trees, but the evergreens, the lower brush, everything is doing really well. So far, the car is great on the way back, but we haven't gotten back to where it was fighting me over the speed limit. When we do hit that, maybe we'll be in a fight again. That, again, limitations of map data versus intelligence to read the road. So far, I mean, its actual driving is great. Like I say, the only problem we had was because it thought the speed limit was 50, it would try and speed up every time there was a short straightaway, and then there'd be an immediate like 20 or 25 mile per hour corner. So we were just getting into this kind of hard braking seesaw going. Like I say, the dependence on map data rather than both its own sense of what are the road conditions that it needs to have some building. Nice. Switching into night mode here as the sun is heading down. And we just want this to calm itself. Like I say, the road gets better the further along here we go, but I don't really want it getting to I'll let it go to whoa. Yep, it just switched to 50 here. And once again, while this is a nice stretch of road that you can go a little faster on, a little faster, maybe 35 or 40, then it goes right back into twisty corners that FSD needs to be able to handle. So let's see how it does here. I'm eager to watch its behavior on the way back now that it thinks it's 50 again. They're here. What will it do? Like here, it says it's 50. It's picking up pace, but we've got corners ahead that are quite a bit slower. I think 35 is a nice pace on this stretch of road. You're definitely going to be below that at times because of the corners, but speeding up to 35 before, you get a sign for a 20 mile per hour corner, FSD's like, it's handling it great. Let's see what it's doing in terms of the max. Oh, it's put its max back up there again. Since it thinks it's 50, it thinks it can go 60. Right? And that is the problem. So like, well, if I can go 60, then I will. Oh my goodness. What a beautiful evening. Yeah, you can see that guy isn't going as fast as I am. Yeah, it's doing better on the way back. It's not getting quite as much gusto. Maybe it's just reading the road better. I actually think FSD does great at night as it dims. It's like it sees the textures so much better. So, not surprised. That was interesting. Little late on that corner. Again, the tendency to think you can go 60 out here as a maximum, but that means, you know, approaching 50 in spots pretty easily is like, yeah, see, it's got a problem with this road, so. Woo! Look it out ahead. Beautiful. Look at that. Oh, gotta love the view. Looking down off the mountain. I got Mount Hood over to my left. Are you going to get out far enough to see that it's safe to go? Yes. And there's the sunset. Heading over the western mountains of the coastal range and out over the Pacific there. Beautiful. All right, so now here I have no concerns with it, you know, having 10 over is the max on this 50. Now look, here's what's interesting. So like, it didn't really kick in a lot of speed there on what was a straight stretch of road. That was curious. I realized we had a stop coming up, but it was a ways away. And here we go. Unprotected left, but not a lot of traffic. And down off the mountain we come. Gonna drop down, probably into Fern Prairie, and then take Highway 500 back home. Going a little north of how we came in. Well, that's an appropriate adjustment for what we're doing here. Nicely done. I would say the stop was almost human. There, you know, was steeply downhill, very steeply downhill through here. Like I say, we're coming down off the mountain. So, beautiful forest, beautiful time of night. Some of these steeps, if you've got to stop at the bottom, you've got to hit the brakes a little earlier to bring it to a gradual stop, because the weight just wants to put you down into that stop. So we are dropping like a rock here. Every big drop has a little uphill after it, but it's all consistently losing about 100 feet for every quarter mile right now. Make our way down. Hope you all are enjoying what is a beautiful drive home, other than the little fight over the speed up there and the windy mountain road there, where drive's been pretty awesome. Like I say, sometimes map data can be the bugaboo that has FSD, you know, doing the wrong speed in a zone. That's still a thing. It's rarer now, and you can manage it a little more if you want, if you need to, but it's still a thing. Here we are. It's now got this as a 30 road here, and given that the corner up ahead is a 40 mile per hour corner, I'm pretty sure this is a 50 mile per hour road. So once again, map data, right? It's going a little slower than it should because it thinks this road is a 30, but the corner was a 40, which means it's a 50 mile per hour speed limit on that road. Silly, silly. Ah, invasive English ivy. No, or is that actual? Some of that's ivy, but some of that looks to be actually Clematis vitalba. Old man's beard. One of my most hated enemies that I eradicate in the forests around here. Looks like I've got a spot where I need to go ask the owner's permission if I can nuke it. It's not something we want around here. Once it starts spreading into the forest, it starts weakening and rotting the trees, both the English ivy and the clematis. So we're really trying to do that. Oh, oncoming traffic does not stop. Nicely handled, FSD. We could have traffic coming from the right, as well as traffic ahead that may be crossing us or going the same direction as us. So you have to be certain of which it's doing. That was awesome. Well done. FSD for the win. In Fern Prairie, we're about to go next to the Fern Prairie grocery store here, Little Mart, and the local small airport is off to the left up here. We're going to take a right onto Highway 500 and head home. There's the Fern Prairie Grange right there. Very cool. All right, now this is Highway 500, but it's got corners. Let's see what it does here. How does it handle this monster? This is a 20 that could be a 15. A lot of people go off the soft edge there. You can actually see where they end up in the ditch and pull back out of it. McMansion's up here. This is another small volcano that has been turned into a McMansion paradise. 5-acre plots with mansions on the volcanic top there. Forget the name of the hill that is the volcanic cone there, but so it is, and ahead of us is Green Mountain. And the neighborhood we live in is just called the Green Mountain neighborhood. It's really a collection of neighborhoods that are all co-joined and built in the last 4 years by 4 different builders. But there are roads that connect all those neighborhoods. So we're collectively the Green Mountain neighborhood, with part of it just called Green Mountain, part of it called the Glades at Green Mountain, a new part called the Heights at Green Mountain. As you come this way, eastward, we're heading westward. As you come eastward, you're gaining a lot of elevation. You get from about 260 feet at the lowest part of the development to 540 feet at the high point of the development. So, you know, close to a 300-foot difference between our lowest spot in the development and our highest. Washington is a beautiful place, but housing is not affordable here. Well, I would give FSD a B on today. Map data got it in trouble in a couple of spots. Too slow on one road and too fast on another. But overall, it did pretty well. Some people at the trailhead there, one of the trails we built up onto the mountain. And coming up on the new Heights at Green Mountain that's about to start building houses. That's why the road's so rough through here. And coming up onto the turn into the neighborhood. Here we go. Yeah, you're going to want to slow yourself down a little bit here, little camper. Beautiful. Nice job by FSD. And ahead, you can see both our low neighborhood and some of the homes going further up onto the mountain. Going through our green belt and wetlands area, along with where our pool and country club are located. Building. Crossing this narrow point in the wetlands to get home. And you'll see ahead as we're pulling up to my house where the street's going to continue into the new neighborhood that's being built, the next piece of our neighborhood that's going in. So we have neighborhood uphill 200 and some feet that way, and neighborhood being built all up ahead of us that way. Beautiful drive tonight, folks. Hope you enjoyed that. We learned a couple things, went to some places I hadn't taken FSD, saw that it's got some map data issues, and so is going the wrong speed on a few roads. But overall, it did a great job of driving. I would say that we definitely need to get the map data better, or it just needs to start reading signs, plus having a little intelligence about conditions. Not only super windy roads, so it doesn't matter what my speed limit sign says, I'm gonna go as fast as the tight corners and up and down road kind of tells me is safe. And also, of course, so many types of signs that can tell it what to do in school zones, no parking zones, U-turn or not. There's a lot of context to driving that is you only know from the signs out there or from experience. Hopefully FSD gains that experience factor, like I said, to know conditions. I know, like, for instance, right now it'll drive too fast for people in the snow sometimes and slip unnecessarily because it's just like, it's really not aware that it's snowing, and it doesn't have a context for, like, snow is something I should go slower in than the speed limit. So we'll see how soon it gets that kind of smarts out there. I'm excited for its future. This version 13.2.2 is so amazing. I use it for 100% of my drives, and rarely have to disengage. Today I did disengage, but only up in the forest where it wasn't really sure of what the speed should be on the couple of roads. So kind of understandable that they don't have a lot of contextual or accurate data for that area. So I doubt FSD's been driven up there at all. So maybe some of my slowdowns and things and will help them there. So all right, folks, well, I hope you have a great night. This has been Tony signing off on FSD 13.2.2, and we'll be uploading this video here in just a bit. Take care. Have a lovely evening.